digital arena, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
I will never get used to having my own intro song. This is like, it's like a dream come true. When I was a kid, I dreamed of having my own talk show, and now I kind of do.
That is so cool. I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
I would have a tape recorder, and I would interview my friends like they were talk show guests.
I love that. Well, you think about it, though, and you did that and you built it. You know, your podcasting is a way that you can build that yourself, which something when we were kids wasn't like that was a thing you could do, right? So you build it yourself, and then now you've taken it to this level where you're like one of the most popular ones in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. It's absolutely crazy that you could just make your own show. Like, we're at a point where we could just do our own thing like that. What did you do? Like, when I was a kid, what if I wanted my own show? What do I have to do? I would have to go to one of the TV networks or TV stations and say, "Hey, I make a show." You know, it's like you would have been down at like WPRP, like knocking on their door, like whatever the version of that was. You know, and knock on their door and be like, "Hey, I want a radio show." Yeah, and it's just a wild time we live in. You know, the internet's crazy. We're in different parts of the country and we're talking. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, you know, you told somebody, you know, 40 years ago, it's like, yeah, you're going to be on a video thing and you could see someone, you'll be in Pennsylvania and somebody will be in a whole other part of the country and you could just talk to each other. Like, it's crazy. That's like Star Trek stuff. Yeah. Wild times. As Dave says, we're coming to you live from Victory Monday. You know, yes, we are. Yay. I was just at the gym and I just saw a guy who's a big Ravens fan, and he was actually at the Ravens Bills game last night, and you know, we playfully go back and forth. I'm like, dude, how the heck did they lose that game? I have no idea how the Ravens lost that game. That was really like one of those like Steelers losses, like where you're ahead and you're playing really well, and then all of a sudden you collapse and the other team scores 22 points in the fourth quarter or something. Yeah. But it is Victory Monday. I don't know how the heck they pulled that off. Now, before the game, I made a bunch of predictions, which I think a lot of people did. And those predictions were, it's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be, you know, they'll probably win by like a field goal or something like that. The offense will suck. The defenses will be way ahead of the offenses. Justin Fields sucks, so he's not going to do anything. And this is why I don't gamble, because this is this is. Did you think it was going to be a low scoring game before? I did, because I kept saying to everybody, we talked about it on my show, that the Jets have a good defense. The Steelers are supposed to have this good defense. Do you know what I mean? Both the offenses, new quarterbacks, kind of questionable situations with those and their abilities. Justin Fields in general, Aaron Rodgers at 41, you know, all of it. And so, yeah, I was shocked. I mean, he just kept throwing touchdowns and I couldn't believe it. The biggest question we've had going into the offseason is, are we going to get Aaron Rodgers? And then when we got Aaron Rodgers, like, how is he going to play? Yeah. And wow. This is the best quarterback play we've had since even before Ben, because Ben wasn't that great like his last year or two. This is the best quarterback play we've had in at least 5 years, and it makes all the difference in the world. To watch him be able to read the field like he does, you're like, yes, that is what's been missing. And then I watched Russell Wilson, you know, play against the Commanders. And, you know, when we first didn't get Rodgers, I thought, well, maybe we should have kept Wilson, right? He wasn't bad. He did okay till he kind of collapsed at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, look, it's week one. And so I recognize that, you know, sometimes there's adjustments, but I feel like they're not going to get that much worse.
Week 1 is weird because I think all the teams do is all they use the training camp for is like to figure out the roster. They don't really use it to practice. And then, or they do, if they do, it's like they don't play their starters much in preseason games. So we don't know what to expect.
Week
And
1
then,
almost feels like the old last preseason game of the season. You know what I mean? Where they used to put in all your starters on that last preseason game and they would play most of the game or half of the game or whatever. And it almost feels like that now. Like it's every season, with every team, it's always so unpredictable.
exactly. This is really just another exhibition game. This is the exhibition game that counts, and that's also. I keep hearing the phrase "Week 1 lies." There's something like last year, like the first couple games of the season, New Orleans was outscoring opponents like 92-10 or some crazy thing like that, and then they completely fell apart. Like just weird things happen because we don't know what to expect. They're so secretive, and then they show their hand, and then teams adjust to it, and then things go back to normal. But yeah, this is craziness. You had an offense that was really good and a defense that was just god awful.
Yeah.
What the heck happened with this defense?
I was shocked. I mean, I really felt like, especially against the run, like, that seemed like they had a big focus on that. Oh, there's Zach, my partner. We had a big focus on fixing the run. You know what I mean? In the off season, it was something they talked about where they kind of fell apart those last 4 or 5 games of the season. So, to walk away from this game and be like, okay, TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey, and then maybe Alex Highsmith, and then everybody else, like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah, especially that line. What the heck? I could understand why Cam Hayward wouldn't be as good because he really did not practice at all because of his contracting and because he's a veteran. He just did not do much. So it's understandable that he wouldn't have the greatest game, but
Mike Tomlin said that's the norm for him. So it made me wonder, I didn't take the time today to go back and look at it, but I thought about it, did Cam Hayward tend the past couple of years to always have like a slow start week 1 and need to work his way up? And we're just focused on it this year because of the contract stuff. People are paying attention to it. Normally they don't, but I didn't take the time to go look to see.
It's very possible. It's very possible that he's always been like that, just not doing much or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if they're waiting for Derek Harmon to fix all this, then buddy, please hurry back as soon as possible.
Yeah, but you can't wait on Derek Harmon. Like there was other issues, you know what I mean? And they need to be focused on some of those things. I mean, Keanu Benton was struggling, do you know what I mean? The general struggling against the run. And then, it just seemed to like snowball from there, and they weren't able to kind of recover. I kind of hope they'd go in at halftime and make some kind of an adjustment. And that may not be perfect when they came back out, but you'd see something better. And that didn't really happen because it's going to kill us in the AFC North if we can't stop the run. I mean, It's going to be that schedule we've got. It's going to be awful.
Right. Teams are just going to run it down our throat. And my goodness. Jono brings up a good point. What if the Jets are actually good? Maybe, they got a new coach. Justin Fields looked amazing. Jets could be good. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like last year when we benched him, I understood why they did it, but I wouldn't have been angry if they had chose to keep him in there, for a while longer and see if he could sustain some of the success that he'd had. But then I also like you just said, week 1 lies. And so like, I'm not ready to like place the money on Justin Fields until we see him and the Jets offense sustain this a little longer. Do you know what I mean? Was that because historically he's been sort of inconsistent, he plays really well. You see this game and you think, oh, he's such a good quarterback. And then, 2 games later, he's fallen apart again. And so
there's two possibilities. One of them is Justin Fields is actually good, and the Steelers were restricting him so much and kept the offense so conservative to avoid mistakes and turnovers that they didn't really let him do his thing, and now they're letting him do his thing. That's one possibility.
You heard that last year. I mean, the local media was saying that was part of what was going on, that they kind of had him handcuffed. Tomlin.
Yeah. Or the other possibility is it's just a week one fluke. I don't know. I mean, this isn't. He's not a rookie. He's spent several years with the Bears. He spent a year with the Steelers. But hey, you never know. Stuff happens when you go to a new team. Yeah. Geno Smith is the patron saint of resurrected quarterbacks.
Right.
Dude was just a backup in several teams, and then he shows up on Seattle and becomes a star. So anything could happen.
Anything could happen. And Fields is lucky to be getting this like third opportunity. Not many starting quarterbacks would get a third opportunity to be a starter right away without proving themselves. Most of them would have had to go somewhere and be a backup like Geno Smith. You have to prove yourself in that role, and then you get to move back up to QB1. So, I think, for him, you look at Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, they're like at the opposite end of the spectrum in their careers, and how they feel they need to prove something. Like I think Rodgers feels like he needs to prove that he still has it at 41, that he's can play like Tom Brady did, into his 40s and be successful. And I think he didn't want to go out on a sour note like his last season in the Jets where they were like 5-12 or whatever. He doesn't want to go out on a sour note, and so this gives him that opportunity. But Justin Fields is like the opposite end of the spectrum. Like he's young. He's potentially got his whole career ahead of him. And he's got to prove like, hey, I am a good player. Do you know what I mean? I am that guy that you saw flashes of in Pittsburgh.
You never know. It could be a situation, we could look years from now. It's like, wow, how did, the Steelers had a chance to keep this guy and they blew it. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. But Aaron Rodgers, I always laugh when they say things like to an athlete, hey, you're going against your old team. Is there any animosity or something? No. It's just another game. Like, it's not. Aaron Rodgers wanted to kill the Jets. Justin Fields wanted to kill the Steelers. That it meant extra motivation for him.
He said afterwards, I loved it. They asked him if he felt like some type of way about beating Aaron Glenn. And he said he was just glad to beat the whole Jets organization. And I was like, yes, I love that.
Yeah, he said something like, there's a lot of people in that organization that didn't think I had it anymore. So that,
right.
The headline of the New York Post said, "Oh, so now he's good." So funny.
Right.
By the way, the last game with the Jets, he also threw 4 touchdowns. So it's not like he was terrible with the Jets, but that.
And again, it's week 1, right? So like, let's just all calm down and see how he does. How he sustains this over these first few weeks.
Another debut was DK Metcalf, and this was another difference between night and day. Nothing against George Pickens, but I don't think he's a wide receiver 1, or if he is a wide receiver 1, he's not mentally a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, not at that caliber. Do you know what I mean? Like that was just a different caliber, and you felt like, some of the things that you watch DK do out there, you're like, oh, this is what we've been lacking these past couple of years, sort of like the quarterback situation where you're lacking that reading the field. You know what I mean? So even though he didn't score, I just felt like he was such a presence on that field, and a positive one.
Oh man. He didn't have many opportunities, but when he did, he just turned on the Jets. You give him just an inch and he will fly.
Yeah.
That is very exciting.
Catches were big impact catches, you know what I mean, that mattered, and something that not everybody could have done.
Also, the big question this year, why did old man Rodgers run out of steam at the end versus the Ravens and the Bills? Will he run out? We don't know whether he'll get to play the Ravens or the Bills or whatever.
You gotta stay healthy.
Right. It is a week to week situation. So,
Yeah.
but
I think that's a valid point, though, that if they, when you do play some of those tougher teams, they need to score early and often and take advantage of opportunities, and not do like they do sometimes and take their foot off the gas because, he is 41.
Yeah. I mean, that was another amazing thing. They scored on their first drive.
For the
That
first time
hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
My goodness. I mean, just even scoring in the first quarter is a rarity. That was amazing. But alongside DK Metcalf with the receivers, the question was, okay, who's going to be wide receiver 2? And it looks like it's Calvin Austin, and it looks like he is doing just fine. He had a nice day. That I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised. That was a question like, well, how are they going to use everybody? You got Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Metcalf, Austin, Roman Wilson. Where was Roman Wilson? Where was Matt Washington?
I don't know. I was so surprised that we didn't see anything from Washington after all the talk from Aaron Rodgers about how he likes him and all of this stuff. I was surprised that he didn't factor in, but I felt like Arthur Smith did a really good job. Like, it was really nice to just see like a real offense, real offensive planning. The offense just looks so much better than it has in like the past several years. So I thought that was good, but I was surprised to not see much from Roman Wilson, surprised to not see anything from Darnell Washington.
That was a surprise, but yeah, you got to give Arthur Smith credit because he drew up some good plays. That first touchdown to Skoranek was wide open. I mean,
he had a great game, and he's a little, he's somebody who's, kind of been right there on the cusp. And to me, he's got some potential of size, and then he's a little bit of a jitterbug, and I like that. He's quick. He had a good game.
I like it. I like it, and yeah. But yeah, Arthur. Arthur Smith said something. He said, when you get an Aaron Rodgers and a DK Metcalf, you're not going to play. You're not going to run the wishbone or whatever. We're going to pass the damn ball. So, but the other thing that's concerning was the passing game was awesome. The running game was crap. I think it's all related to the offensive line being abysmal, and that is a major concern.
Well, Broderick Jones, Broderick Jones. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even the whole offensive line. Broderick Jones was a serious issue. And, I was texting with Allison, and I said, are we, like, I'm never the person who calls somebody a bust. I'm like, are we at the point where we're calling this kid a bust? Like, I get it's week 1, but like that, it was really concerning because I had some people really yelling at me on another podcast about if they just moved him, he'd be fine, right? This is all because he's playing on the wrong side. Okay, well, now he's on the side he's supposed to be on, and we're still seeing some of the same issues. He allowed, I think, 2 sacks.
What's the excuse now? There's always an excuse. Oh, he's on the wrong side. Oh, he needs this. He needs that. He's like there's always an excuse.
Yeah.
Like, stop making excuses. Fautanu, there's no excuses with him. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't as bad. Broderick Jones gave up like 3 sacks and several pressures, and like he was basically a turnstile. He's gonna get
Fautanu looked good.
Yeah. I said all year this whole team relies on Broderick Jones being good, and he was awful. And you just can't. You can't do this. You can't just be all passing all the time. You need some kind of run game.
All running all the time in previous years, it didn't work. I mean, you've got to have some balance. At some point, though, look, and it's week 1. I'm just going to keep reiterating that I'm not putting the panic button yet. But at some point, are you better off pushing Calvin Anderson in there and just letting him try to grow into the position, sort of like McCormick did or something, and hope that he can grow into that role, and he's hungry enough to want it.
Yeah. Yeah, you just can't have what you have now, and or you basically have Matt Washington be another offensive lineman and help Jones out. I don't know, but this cannot continue. I don't know, but like you said, it's week one. Another concern is, are we sure we have good enough running backs? They lost Najee Harris, and Najee Harris was basically if he wasn't the main guy, he was pretty close to it. It was almost a 50-50 split with Jaylen Warren last year. And now it's Jaylen Warren, and it was supposed to be Caleb Johnson, but that's not working out. So now it's Kenny G.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're assuming Jaylen Warren is good enough to be the main guy, but I don't know. Maybe he's not.
And look, I was people had got on my case because I was such a big Naj fan. That doesn't make me not a Jaylen Warren fan, right? Like I love that kid. I love his story. I think he's great. I questioned, even when people started talking about trading Naj before it happened, if he would be able to carry this workload primarily on his own. And then I think you draft Caleb, and he's a good player. He had a great college career, but he wasn't a first round pick like Naj and some of these other guys, Ashton Janty, you know what I mean? So he's not ready to step into that role yet. Like, he needs some time to get there. So I don't think it's fair to him to say that he's not good enough, right? Or he won't get there. But what was he, a third round pick? I mean, that third round picks take a little time to develop. They're not ready usually week one, that's more unusual. But Gainwell wasn't supposed to be this guy that was like the RB2. And so, it concerned me even before we ever set foot on the field that maybe we didn't have the right running backs and we made a mistake with Najee. We should have just given him his $6 million or whatever it was. He wanted $8 million or whatever and moved on.
Yeah. We'll see. You gotta have some kind of running attack, so we'll see.
But you're right too, though. Like, how much of that is a chicken and an egg thing, right? Like, so how much of that is that the offensive line had some struggles? Roger Jones was breaking down some. So how much of that, is attributed to that, and then how much of that is solely on the running backs? Like, I thought a lot of what went wrong for Naj in his seasons in Pittsburgh, especially in the first, like the second and third season, was a lot of that was because of all the offensive line struggles. You know what I mean? They weren't blocking for him. And I think that really hurt his game. And he took a lot of heat for that. Some he deserved, some he didn't. So how much of this is really on the offensive line?
Yeah. It's a young line, so you hope they figure it out. Hopefully. I don't know. I mean, this is, it is new for Broderick Jones, and he, it's like, there's a difference between doing it in training camp, doing it in a preseason game, and doing it in a regular season game. So hopefully now you got the regular season game out of the way. They say there's a big difference, big change between game 1 and game 2. Hopefully he could figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not asking to be all pro, dude. Just don't get the quarterback killed. That's all we're asking.
Yeah. Sometimes he looks like he's in like outer space. Like, you watch him and the defender's just blowing right past him, and he's like, "Oh, which way did he go?"
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary. It's like he's on a whole other planet or something. Mm-hmm. It's not scary. Also, we saw the debut of Jalen Ramsey, and he basically saved the game.
What a hit. What a hit at the end of the game. That was unbelievable. He had a great game.
He just knocked Garrett Wilson so hard and knocked that ball out. And man, that was just a thing of beauty. He is just, he's coming in, he's either, and I don't know what he says or does, but he really pisses off the other team. He really makes them mad.
Yeah.
And then also Darius Slay made his debut. I don't think that went as well, considering he got burned on a touchdown.
Yeah, he did.
And hopefully Joey Porter Jr. is not hurt. Apparently he has some kind of hamstring problem.
I saw that. You're right. Yeah. Hopefully that's nothing serious and he's okay. And hopefully, look, hopefully there was, a fly in the ointment or whatever, with this week with that run defense and they get their act together because look, I know that the team is always going to say all the right things in interviews over the summer training camp and stuff. They're not going to be up there being like, yeah, we don't really know what we're doing. And I don't think we this year. So I get that they're going to say all the right things. But to me, even what you saw coming in the preseason, it looked like they'd solved some of those communication issues. It looked like they were more in sync than they were last year. So hopefully that was just an off game, still working out the bugs.
I mean, the nice thing is that they have like 3 capable cornerbacks. So, and they have a lot of depth. Eccles look good too. I think Chuck Clark had to come in for Deshaun Elliott. They have a lot of depth, and so if Slay does suck, then you just move Joey Porter Jr. or Ramsey around. So
just
it's
move
okay.
On.
David's right. That hit made all the highlights.
It did. I saw it all over ESPN, which I love that. I love it's when something positive from the Steelers game and not something terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something else. But you know what? It is really nice when you work out all your problems and still get a win. Oh, and by the way, Boswell is apparently a serial killer.
I have him on my fantasy team. I was so psyched. I was so excited. I drafted him probably way earlier than you should draft a kicker, but I wanted to make sure I had him. I have him and I have DK Metcalf. So I don't have very many Steelers this year. I tried not to be emotional for once. And I mean, just what an unbelievable game. Kicked that field goal 60 yards. They said it could have gone 70. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
I don't know what's going on this year with field goals. Apparently there's something called the K-ball. And the difference is this year that with the K-ball, you're allowed. I think K-balls are just like balls specifically that the kickers can.
I was going to say, does that stand for kicking ball?
Yeah, probably. And what it used to be, I believe, was you only had you could only mess around with your K-balls earlier. Like the day of the game or something like that. And now I believe you could play with the K-balls all week or something like that. So you can make whatever they do to manipulate them.
Yeah.
They can make them. Basically, this is why we're seeing 60, 65-yard, 70-yard field goals.
Yeah. It's like conditioning the balls or something, whatever that is.
Don't mess things, Kate.
Yeah.
Things that just don't mess with your K-balls too much. Yeah, you might end up having to go to the doctor. Yeah, I just kept hearing K-ball. It's just one of those buzzwords that you hear over and over again. And I was like, what the heck is this K-ball crap? And
right.
Somebody explained it to me. But okay, Boswell has kept. I think you could say that if it wasn't for Chris Boswell, and if it wasn't for the Steelers having such a good kicker, I don't know if Tomlin would still have a job. How many times has Chris Boswell basically saved a game,
right,
or got them to victory?
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, look at the Browns game last week. I mean, or yesterday, they lost because their kicker could not kick out an extra point.
Right. Well, I'm sure that was the case with like Justin Tucker too. Like I know a lot of Ravens fans don't like Harbaugh, and I'm sure it was the same when they had him. They would talk about how you just had to get the ball over the 50-yard line, and then you could pretty much count on Tucker to at least get you 3 points. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was similar with him, and so yeah, I think it does definitely contribute to Tomlin having this win streak, or no losing season streak or whatever they call it. It definitely contributes to that because we've had plenty of games where we've won thanks to Boz.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I mean, it was the game one last year. The score was 18-10. It was 6 possible field goals. So
Right. All field goals.
The dude is amazing. And I mean, what if we're doing that? What if routinely we're just rocking 70-yard field goals now or something? I mean,
it's unbelievable.
It's something you could only do like in desperation, because if you miss a 70-yard field goal attempt, you're basically giving the other team points because you're going to be so far, like the field position.
They'll be able to kick their own field goal easily almost.
Right. Yeah, they just like the very next play is like, thank you very much. We'll just kick it this way. Thank you. But next up is Seattle. I hate to say this, but I think this is going to be an easy game. Yes, I know they have a strong running game.
Yeah.
But my theory is Sam Darnold sucks. He was very good with the Vikings. Well, the Vikings have basically an offensive genius as a coach.
They do.
Now they don't have that.
They made him look so good that he is like financially set, like generational wealth for his grandkids. Do you know what I mean? He did look so good in Minnesota, and I agree with you. I don't think it's going to translate to Seattle. It's not. He's no Tom Brady. He's not just a guy that can go anywhere and play really well. I don't think that's him. So I think he's going to struggle some more.
When you go from one team to another, I mean, just so much changes, and sometimes it works out like Saquon Barkley, and sometimes it's a disaster. Yeah. And I just remember all the times that Sam Darnold sucked on all those other teams.
Right.
And he just got really lucky in Minnesota with a perfect situation, and now he doesn't. So
and some really talented teammates. Do you know what I mean? Justin Jefferson. I mean, he would probably make me look pretty good.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that.
Catching the ball, you just throw it up there, and somehow he magically like magnetizes it to his hands or something. So I think there's that factor too. But I agree with you. I mean, you definitely see it sometimes. A team just isn't a good fit. That's kind of what I hoped it was for Justin Fields when he came to Pittsburgh last year. Like Chicago just wasn't a good fit for him. That franchise is a train wreck. He's going to come to Pittsburgh. It's a better situation, and he'll do really well. And he did do okay, but I don't think we saw quite what we hoped to see from him. So I think for Darnold, I just think that inflated his value a little bit more than it deserved to be.
Remember the Steelers? There were reports that the Steelers wanted Darnold.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen.
I am too.
Yeah, they have a good running attack. Their main wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Njigma. Now, this past game was a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. This game will be a revenge game for DK Metcalf.
Right. I mean, you can't tell me there's no NFL script. Like, come on, man. Like, look at these games. Like it's clearly all set up for the ratings. The Steelers just need to have like their own Taylor Swift or something, and we'll be like at the top of the ratings.
Listen, if you don't think there's a script, watch that Sunday night game again. There is no humanly way possible the Ravens were supposed to lose that game. And then all of a sudden, magically, Derrick Henry, who's every time he touches the ball gets 10, 15 yards, he just magically fumbles. And then this magically happens. Like,
I know. I have him on my fantasy team too, and I was so excited. And then I was doing the math for the points, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I should have more points because I didn't watch the whole game, and then I found out he fumbled.
Yeah. You mean to tell me that's just a great coincidence that stuff like that happens. Mm-hmm. Or like, like Aaron Rodgers was saying, it's like, wow, what a coincidence that I didn't even sign with the Steelers yet, and they have the Steelers playing my old team week 1. What a coincidence. It's all.
Yeah, they love that stuff. I mean, they did it last year too. You know what I mean? So they love that stuff.
and we all eat it up.
We're there watching.
I was glued to my TV watching Red Zone Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday after the Steelers game. If I could, I would watch football from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. very happily and just sit there and watch football. So I guess I'm part of the problem, but
I'm right there with you. I mean, me too. I start on Saturday with College Game Day, and I don't turn the football off until I go to bed on Sunday night. Not as much of a night owl as you, so I don't usually make it through the Sunday night game unless the Steelers are playing. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, glued to my TV.
It is the best time of the year.
Yeah,
it is a struggle getting through. Well, it's a struggle for people like us that talk about the Steelers all the time and talk about football all the time to come up with things to say. And yes, it was a very busy off season, but when you have basically 7 months of non-activity trying to figure
yeah. I'm with Duchess too. I believe in all the NFL conspiracies, 100%.
Oh. And don't tell me. Well, here's what I think about Taylor Swift. I think that was an arranged thing. And then they found that they actually like each other. It's like, let's get married.
It would not surprise me. This is all together to do the Super Bowl halftime show.
I brought this up to someone and they told me I was crazy, but Friday night there's actually a law that this NFL is not allowed to play on Friday nights. The only reason they have this Friday night game that they did this past Friday and a year ago, they also did a Friday night game, I believe, also in Brazil or some crap like that, is because the law is, and this is basically to protect high school football,
right?
But the law is the NFL is not allowed to play games on starting in September. But if there's like a certain number of Fridays in September, then they're allowed to do the first Friday in September or some crap like that.
Oh.
So there's actually
they couldn't compete with with high school football that way, but I didn't realize there was like a loophole.
There's actually a law. So no, Friday nights will not be a new thing. It's just a fluke thing on week 1, and that's it. And I don't know. It's just I don't know exactly what the law is, but it's yes.
And it shouldn't be like it shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? I don't.
Seriously,
it really shouldn't be.
Fridays are for high school, Saturdays are for college. Leave those alone. You could have every other day of the week. Tuesday night football, Wednesday night football. You know that's coming. Remember during the COVID, there was that, and we were. I would be happy to watch Tuesday night football or Wednesday night football. I don't care if it's
Monday and Thursday, right? And to me, that balances it out with the number of teams you have. Everybody's games get in there. I wouldn't be sad to see a Tuesday night game because I think if we can move a game to national television, it opens up the opportunity for the Steelers game to be televised other places. So,
well, that's the scary thing is that thing was on YouTube, which I'm like, oh God, what do I have to do? What do I have to buy now to watch this dang game? It's like, no, it was free. It was just as long as you could just get on YouTube, which is fine. But it is just such a struggle. It's like, is the game on Peacock? Is the game on Paramount? Is the game on Amazon? Is the game on Netflix? Is the game on Pluto? Is the game on Apple? Like there's just so many. It's just so complicated.
It is too much. And I'm never the like old man shaking their fist at the cloud about technology and stuff like that. I have like 19 million subscriptions to everything you can imagine. And at least once a year, something pops up where it's like, nope, you can't see the game unless you get this new wacky, Wawa TV or something.
Right. It gets to be crazy. Honestly, you know what I've heard people are doing? They're going back to antennas, and that's what I do. I have because there's a game on channel 2 and there's a game on channel 53 on the Fox station, and I just switch back and forth between those, and it's like, okay, at least I got something. And then channel 11 is that, and if I think the rule is if your home team is playing on, say, Netflix or Amazon or one of those things, they have to make it available on one of the over-the-air stations, at least locally. So
that Steelers game, when I looked at the coverage map, it was red. The whole country was red except for the state of Florida, which was whatever game it was, Miami, I think. Like, really? Nobody wants to watch Miami. They're terrible.
Miami doesn't want to watch Miami.
Right.
The only reason to watch Miami is to watch the coach get fired because
even the Dolphins don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Watch Miami. It's so bad. Yeah.
Oh, what the heck? Yeah, that dude's getting fired real soon. But well, here's the thing. Dave says for Tuesday they need to coordinate with the bye weeks. There eventually it's going to happen real soon. There's going to be an 18-game season.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
If they do an 18-game season, they're probably going to have 2 bye weeks, which is nice.
You can't do to teams what they did to the Steelers last year, where you have 3 games in 10 days or whatever. And if you add in this extra week, that's going to happen to lots of teams. And I know, and part of my NFL conspiracy belief is that they don't mind screwing the Steelers over, but that's not going to be able to avoid that from happening to some of their beloved teams like the Chiefs. And so, yeah, I think for sure they'll have to add a second bye week.
They're probably going to start Labor Day. That's probably when they're going to start, and they'll probably be done. They'll probably have the Super Bowl the day before President's Day, so you have a 3-day weekend, which is what everybody wants after the Super Bowl. It's like we want this the day after the Super Bowl. So I mean, it's. I do
like right now with the addition to the 17th game that the Super Bowl falls right around my birthday every year. So I do like that. It's just fun when it does land on my actual birthday. But I agree with you. I think that to go to that next week, so like you said, right around President's Day weekend, would make a lot of sense.
So what you do is you host a Super Bowl party and everybody says, "Oh, by the way, it's my birthday. Everybody bring presents too."
Right. I like gifts.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right.
All right. So what? So you have your own show. Speaking of what's your podcast?
I do, with Zach Franciscus that was on here earlier. It's Steel City Huddle. You can find us on YouTube and Twitter or X or whatever you're calling it these days. We do a show every Tuesday at 7. Kind of talk about the game. So tomorrow night we'll be on, very much like your show. We do it live. So we talk with the fans, we talk questions, we read their comments, a lot like you do. It's super interactive. We have a really good time.
It is. Okay. So do you use StreamYard also?
Mm-hmm. We use StreamYard. Yep. And
this
then we
is another
game show like Friday or Saturday, just a short one.
Yeah. I did a post game yesterday because there were just so many things. Usually, like the first game or two, like there's just so much going on. Yeah. There's just a whole bunch of things I want to talk about. But yeah, this is the other thing that's changed for me. This used to be when I started this podcast 7 years ago. It was all audio. There was no video at all. Then I went to like basically a Zoom meeting thing. Yeah. Now we are live. This has been going on only for like this year or whatever. We're live and we're getting, it's so awesome that we get live interaction.
I love it.
People commenting. It is so cool. It is.
Yeah.
So cool.
When I first started, I did House of Yinzer with Allison, and when we left that and I toyed around with some other podcasts, I did one where they like to film it and edit it and put it out. And I kept saying, I love the live format. Like, can we look at doing that? Because there's some other pretty popular ones, where they take fans during their viewers during the show. And I just think that interaction just brings this extra dimension to it that makes it really fun. People have thoughts, differing opinions on things. And I love being able to talk about all that stuff. So it's been hands down one of our favorite parts of doing the podcast for Zach and I, is being able to have people on there to share their thoughts and push back on us or whatever.
It's so cool. It's so cool to have that live interaction.
Yeah, I wasn't with you that whole 7 years, but the first time that I did your podcast, you had just gone from audio to video.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I haven't been there the whole 7 years, but it's been a while now.
It's been a while. It's been about at least 5 or 6. I remember that. I remember.
Like that.
And I think it was just like I kept seeing you on Twitter. It's like she seems really cool. I'll bet we would have a lot of fun, and we do. And you're one of my favorite people to talk to. So
I love
always,
being on the show with you. Absolutely.
I always love talking to you, and I thank you for making the time. So
yeah.
All right. So what was your show called again?
Steel City Huddle.
Steel City Huddle. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And you're on tomorrow night, right?
Yep. Tomorrow at 7. Yep.
Maybe I'll jump on there.
Jump on and talk with us. We had Zachary Smith on chatting with us last week. That was fun. Yeah.
He's a good guy. I've known him for a long time too.
Yeah, I have too. He jumps in our comments every once in a while, and it's nice, because he's there all the time, and so you can be like, well, what do you think about this? So that's always fun.
Well, that's funny. Like Dave, he comments all the time. When he's not commenting, I'm like, dude, just jump on.
Come on the show. What are you doing here?
Right. Duchess, I've had her on here too. So yeah. This is how you. Yeah. Sometimes, hey, if you want to be on things, comment a lot, and if you develop a relationship with the host or something, you could just be on there. So.
I missed a show, one of my shows recently. My mom's been sick, and one of the guys that's a regular commenter on our show jumped on and co-hosted with Zach that week.
There you go. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Hey, all right. Thank you so much.
Bye, Joe.
I'll see you.